And this is the first of a number of steps. This is a key point. This is not the only reconciliation bill. We're going to have a second budget reconciliation bill that follows after this, and we're beginning next week the appropriations process, which is the spending bills for government. And you're going to see a lot of the Doge cuts and a lot of this new fiscal restraint reflected in what Congress does next. So stay tuned. This is not the end-all be-all. I tell my friends, my fellow fiscal hawks, we've got to get our fiscal house in order, and this is an incredibly and historic first start.
There you have it, you guys. Man, let me know your thoughts. That was Speaker of the House Mike Johnson vocalizing this is just the start. There is going to be a second reconciliation bill. Now, right now, the one that they're currently working on, that big, beautiful bill, that is the one that we're seeing getting pushed through Congress at this time, through the House, through the Senate. All of these different agenda items that Trump wanted to see included in there, they're working away on it. And now we're hearing that there is going to be another one coming, a second one. What does this mean for Doge dividend refund checks, for stimulus, for no tax on Social Security, for a lot of the things that people wanted to see but was not included? And what does this also mean? You heard him talking about the deficit, the budget. I'm going to be covering for you these interviews that just took place with Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, and he is saying there is more to come. Now, let me know your thoughts. Do you think that they are going to be doing some form of Doge dividend stimulus refund checks? Let me know your thoughts. But let's take a look at the latest headlines so that way you can see it for yourself. This coming out today, June 2nd, 2025. $5,000 Doge stimulus. Will dividend checks ever actually happen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If yes, put yes. If no, put no. But right now, we are still watching the Department of Government Efficiency and the progress they're making on clawbacks from the federal government for taxpayer dollars. They currently are putting on the website here, the official website, $175 billion in estimated savings, which equates to $1,086.96 per taxpayer, which we're hearing would equate to essentially a $200, $300 check per household at this time. However, they are not done yet. We're hearing that the Doge clawbacks are still underway, still taking place, and we will see if this will make it into another reconciliation bill that is going to be on the way here. Now, in addition to that, I've also shared with you that there are those that wonder, hey, as you can see here on the Doge tracker, will President Trump take executive actions to issue a Doge dividend check to the American people? And a lot of people are saying this is a possibility as well. Let me know your thoughts. If Congress decides they're not going to do a Doge dividend refund stimulus check, and they don't do it in the reconciliation bill or any other bill, and there's not congressional support for it, Donald Trump could do an executive action on his own. Now, I know a lot of people might think to themselves, well, Congress holds the power of the purse. They have to issue new funds. That is correct. But here's the thing. Doge clawbacks are not new funds. It's actually funds that have been distributed for something else, and then it could be reallocated, repurposed in a different direction. That does not require congressional approval. In fact, we've actually seen Donald Trump do this before with the unemployment. You'll recall the PUA, PEUC, those different programs, the FPUC during the pandemic, where he took FEMA funds, existing funds, changed it around, reallocated it, sent it out for unemployment, disaster relief funds. But rather than for natural disasters, for the pandemic disaster, technically, that could be done yet again. So that there is that question as well. Do you think that Donald Trump should do that? If so, drop a 47 in the comments. If Congress does not get on board, if Republicans cannot unify behind a reconciliation bill that provides additional funding for those that need it, do you think that Donald Trump should do this on his own? If yes, drop a 47 in the comments. Now, I'm going to play for you the video footage, though, so that way you can see for yourself where things currently stand in these interviews with Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. He is saying another bill is going to be on the way here very soon, and we're going to be seeing what this means for Social Security, for refund checks, for no tax, and various different agenda items. I'm going to be covering the details for you. So if you appreciate that, do me a favor before we dive in, take a second, hit that like button. I see those 47s starting to pour in, people saying, hey, we need those checks. Mr. Fishback proposed them. Elon Musk said, I'll take it up with the president. Donald Trump said, I like it. I'm going to present it to Congress. Congress has had it, but we did not see it in that big, beautiful bill. But I'm seeing those 47s, people saying that they are believing that this should be done. And I will keep you up to date on this because it's sounding like there is a second chance here, another bill potentially coming here for reconciliation through Congress, and we will see if this gets included. So do me a favor, like I said, while you're dropping those 47s, hit that like button for me, help spread this out further so more people can get the latest updated information. I'm going to put the dates, the sources on the screen, read right from it, have it hyperlinked in the description like a book report so that way you can see it for yourself and know and rest assured that this is the latest information. Also, to stay up to date, totally free, why not? Hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. I will keep you up to speed on everything so that way you know exactly what is taking place. And we're going to dive into the video footage, but before we do, very quickly, if you or a loved one is on Medicare, this is important. Just on May 1st, 1 month ago, the Department of Justice filed a fraud complaint against 3 of the largest Medicare brokers in the country. Now, you can see it right here. The United States files False Claims Act complaint against 3 national health insurance companies and 3 brokers alleging unlawful kickbacks and discrimination against disabled Americans. If you feel like your Medicare has been ripping you off, trust your gut. You're probably right, according to what we're seeing coming out from the DOJ. According to the DOJ, these brokers misled seniors, claiming to offer unbiased help while secretly steering them into insurance plans that paid them the highest kickbacks. Not the best plan for the seniors, not the right plans, just the most profitable ones. It's infuriating, but sadly, it's not surprising, and that's why today I want to recommend to you Chapter. Chapter is different. This company was founded because the owners, their parents were scammed, and they vowed to fix the system. They're fully independent, and they are the only national advisors that search every Medicare plan that's available to help you find the one that actually fits your needs. They advocate for you, not the insurance companies. There's no steering, no pressure, just ethical, honest help at no cost to you. So if you want help with Medicare, give Chapter a call today. You can see the number on the screen here, 984-375-0879. You get to talk to a real person. They're going to help you figure out exactly what is the right plan for you specifically. And on average, Chapter saves seniors that they help out $1,000 a year. And this is a totally free resource. So really, there's no reason not to give them a call. Either they'll tell you you got the best plan, nothing else you need to do, or they might save you $1,000. So this is available to my audience today. I'm going to paste this number down below. You can see it on the screen as well. Call Chapter today at the number 984-375-0879. So thank you again to Chapter making that available to my viewing audience today. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the video footage of Speaker of the House Mike Johnson giving his update in the last 24 hours as to where things currently stand. And let me know, do you think that we are going to see Doge dividend stimulus refund checks? If yes, put yes in the comments. If no, put no. But let's take a look at the latest updates as to what is going on in Congress right now.
And joining me now is the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson of Louisiana. Speaker Johnson, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Hey, great to be with you as always.
It is great to have you back. Let's start right there talking about what is now officially called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Here's what Elon Musk had to say about it. Take a listen.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
And Mr. Speaker, a number of Senate Republicans share Elon Musk's concerns that it will add to the debt and deficit. So how do you convince your Republican Senate colleagues to get on board and support this bill?
Well, I convinced my friends and colleagues by use of the facts. I sent a long text message to my good friend Elon Musk after he made those comments the other day to explain this is not a spending bill. This is a reconciliation package. It is reconciling a budget. So there is some additional spending, as you noted earlier at the opening, for national security, for historic investments in border security, the largest in generations, because those are necessary expenditures. But what my friends are missing is the tremendous and historic level of spending cuts that are also in the same package. So a lot of the analysis that people are pointing to is from groups, for example, like the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO. They have projected anemic economic growth.
I canceled my Midjourney subscription because this AI does everything I need for a one-time
They're assuming a growth level of 1.8% over the next 10 years. Kristen, never in U.S. history has the U.S. economy sustained less than 2% economic growth over a 10-year period. What's going to happen here is exactly the opposite. We're going to have historic growth because we're basing this on the history of the recent past. Remember, in the first Trump administration, the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the CBO was off in its estimates of that one by $1.5 trillion, okay, because they underestimated the incredible growth that would be brought about. This is going to be jet fuel. The reason we call it the Big Beautiful Bill is because it is a tremendous pro-growth package entwined in this legislation that is going to make everybody's incomes go up. There's going to be more job opportunity, more opportunity to climb up that economic ladder in America, because job creators, entrepreneurs, and risk takers will have the government off their backs. They will have lower taxes, and they will be expanding their businesses. We're incentivizing U.S. manufacturing again. We're bringing jobs back to the U.S. That's going to help everybody, all boats rise, like we did in 2017, except this time it's on steroids.
Well, it is worth noting that some budget experts say that in 2017, actually, the CBO was pretty right when you adjusted for inflation. But let me read you something that you said back in 2021 about the CBO. This was in relation to a Democratic bill. You said the CBO has confirmed this bill adds nearly $400 billion to the deficit, contrary to the White House's claim that the bill is paid for. So do you only believe the CBO when a Democrat is president, Mr. Speaker?
No, this is very easy to explain. The CBO sometimes gets projections correct, but they're always off every single time when they project economic growth. They always underestimate the growth that will be brought about by tax cuts and reduction in regulations. Look, when we did this in 2017, the first 2 years of the Trump administration, we literally brought about the greatest economy in the history of the world, not just the U.S., because we got the government off the backs of the people who create the jobs, and we allowed hardworking Americans to have more money in their pocket that they could take home. We're doing that again. Remember, in this Big Beautiful Bill, the reason we call it that is because there's benefits for everybody. It's geared for hardworking Americans, lower and middle income Americans. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on interest on car loans if you buy products made in the USA. We're going to give relief to seniors on Social Security. There's so many benefits and features in this bill, and it's going to allow everybody to do better. And at the same time, projecting and ensuring the largest amount of savings literally in history. There's no government on planet Earth that's ever saved over $1.6 trillion in a piece of legislation. This one does. And so when you reduce government spending and you allow people to keep more of their hard-earned money, the economy grows, and that's exactly what's going to happen here.
Well, the Joint Committee on Taxation is projecting just 0.03% on growth. But let me just ask you, I want you to address the concerns of your colleagues, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Rand Paul. Why doesn't this bill do more to address the debt and deficit, Mr. Speaker?
Yeah, well, listen, I agree with my good friend Ron Johnson, for example, a lot of the comments that he stated about government spending. We have a north of $36 trillion federal debt right now, and it is the largest national security concern for the U.S. I am a fiscal hawk. Many of my Republican colleagues in the House feel the same way. But we didn't get in this situation overnight, Kristen. It took us decades, many decades of Congress's, frankly, mismanagement of the public fisc to get in this situation. And the last 4 years, the Biden administration increased spending dramatically. So it's going to take us a while to get out of it. We can't flip a magic switch and reverse it overnight. But this is the largest step forward in the right direction that Congress has ever made. I liken this to an aircraft carrier. You don't turn an aircraft carrier on a dime. It takes a mile of open ocean. This is the biggest turn in that wheel that we would have had in generations. And this is the first of a number of steps. This is a key point. This is not the only reconciliation bill. We're going to have a second budget reconciliation bill that follows after this, and we're beginning next week the appropriations process, which is the spending bills for government. And you're going to see a lot of the Doge cuts and a lot of this new fiscal restraint reflected in what Congress does next. So stay tuned. This is not the end-all be-all. I tell my friends, my fellow fiscal hawks, we've got to get our fiscal house in order, and this is an incredibly and historic first start.
Mr. Speaker, if the Big Beautiful Bill does add to the debt, will President Trump own that?
It's not going to add to the debt. But I can tell you that President Trump is laser focused on two primary things: delivering on his campaign promises and the America First agenda, which is what a record number of 77 million voters, popular votes, requested and demanded and gave us a mandate to do. But he's also concerned, as I am, as Ron Johnson is, as Rand Paul is, as all of us are, about the nation's debt. And he and I talk about this frequently, and he is excited about changing that trajectory. President Trump, I think, can be the most consequential president of the modern era because he has these opportunities to do these big things. The One Big Beautiful Bill is a big first step to provide relief for the American people, to give everybody more take-home pay, more money in their pocket, and to change the trajectory of the country. And again, it's the first of a number of steps, and President Trump is committed to doing this.
Mr. Speaker, the Joint Committee on Taxation, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, the Tax Foundation, the Penn-Wharton budget model all say this will add trillions of dollars to the deficit. Are you really telling the American people this will not add one penny to the debt and deficit? You can guarantee that?
The future of trading is here on Robinhood. Seamlessly trade stocks, options, crypto, and futures in one place.
I am telling you, this is going to reduce the deficit. I mean, you cite some of these figures. Do you know what their economic growth projections are? The Committee for Responsible Budgeting, they're not even, I don't think they're assuming any economic growth. I mean, that's not realistic. A lot of these groups use what they call static scoring and not dynamic scoring. Dynamic scoring, in layman's terms, is reality. That we are going to spur on tremendous economic growth here. And so you're going to have a higher job participation number in the economy. You're going to have higher wages. You're going to have more jobs provided. And in addition to that, the president's extraordinary policies are producing great things for the country. The tariff policy that was so controversial in the beginning is having an extraordinary effect on the U.S. economy. It's going to bring more jobs and billions of dollars of investment, trillions of dollars of investment back to the U.S. All these things are working in tandem. And I'm telling you, just wait. We'll have plenty of time for this to all shake out before the next election cycle, the mid-year for Congress, and everyone will see they're going to be doing a lot better for that election.
All right.
Wow, there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. And do you agree? Do you think that with Donald Trump in office and with Republicans in full control of Congress, that things are going to be doing a whole lot better here? Let me know your thoughts. If you think so, put a 47 in the comments. If you think no, put a 46 for the previous administration. But you heard him say that there is going to be another reconciliation bill that is going to be on the way. They're going to have more things coming here. He said this is just the beginning. The One Big Beautiful Bill is just the beginning. And there's a lot of items that people still want to see that have not yet been included. And one of those big ones, as I mentioned, was the Doge dividend stimulus refund checks. Here's an article that came out today, $5,000 Doge stimulus. Will dividend checks ever actually happen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But let's go ahead and take a look at this here and see what the latest is. Now, amid rising inflation and economic uncertainty, millions of Americans are asking, will the government send out a $5,000 Doge stimulus check? The short answer is not yet, and possibly never. Now, regardless of whether it happens or not, I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel. If it comes out that they just say no, there will be no Doge dividend refund checks, I will let you know. Now, if it does possibly come up in legislation, in another reconciliation bill, in a standalone bill, or maybe by executive action, you know I will report it here immediately on the channel, cite the sources, so you know exactly what is going on and what is the latest. Now, what is the Doge stimulus check? It's the proposal, often referred to as the Doge dividend, originated from Elon Musk's now defunct role leading the Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge. The idea was floated back in 2025. If Doge could have saved $2 trillion by slashing federal spending, 20% of those savings would be returned to the American taxpayers, approximately $5,000 per household. So if they hit their goal of $2 trillion, 20% of the clawbacks would equate to a $5,000 check. Now, that is a moving amount then, so it's not set $5,000. If they only hit, let's say, $1 trillion in cutbacks, that would equate to a $2,500 check, or half of that. So it depends and is contingent upon the amount of clawbacks. President Donald Trump publicly entertained the idea, calling it something we're strongly considering. Musk responded to a proposal on X by writing, "We'll check with the president." But so far, there's no official legislation, no schedule, and no confirmed amount. So how much has Doge actually saved? Doge's self-reported savings has stood at $175 billion as of May 30th, 3 days ago, 2025, far short of the original $2 trillion goal. Doge website claims savings came from contract cancellations, asset sales, and regulatory cuts. However, media outlets like CNN have found that less than half of those savings are verifiable. Critics argue that Doge exaggerates figures, including credit for deals canceled before the department existed. Musk, who stepped down as a special government employee on May 28th, has now left the department entirely. Doge is expected to continue without him. Now, who would get these $5,000 checks? Well, according to Azoria CEO James Fishback, who originally proposed the Doge dividend, only net income taxpayers would be eligible, meaning households that pay more in federal taxes than they receive in benefits. And I can tell you, I actually interviewed Mr. Fishback myself, and that is false. He said anybody working, it does not need to be a certain net income, will get these. If you are working, you will qualify, according to the proposal that they put out. That would exclude low-income households and many older people. That is false. He said on my show that low-income people would get these checks, and so would those on Social Security. Fishback plans to tie the payouts directly to total savings. That is true. $2 trillion would equate to a savings of $5,000 per household. $1 trillion would equate to $2,500 per household. $500 billion would equate to a $1,250 check. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe that a $1,250 check would be good? Would you like that? If they decided to pass this, it was a part of legislation and went through, and you got a $1,250 check for Doge. Would that be nice? Yes or no? Or is it simply not enough when we've been hearing about $2,000, $5,000 dividend refund checks? Now, with Doge's latest figures falling short, even $1,000 per household appears unlikely right now at this time. So will Congress approve a Doge stimulus? Well, not without a fight. No formal legislation has been introduced. Congressional support is limited, especially among fiscal conservatives who support spending cuts but not new payouts. Any distribution of funds must be passed into law, and no such bill exists at this time. Still, Trump's campaign has tested the waters by asking voters whether they support a Doge dividend. So why are people still talking about it? Well, it is because it could still be a possibility here in a future reconciliation bill, in a standalone bill, and also, as I mentioned, we saw on the website, people are asking the question, will there be an executive action by the president to issue out Doge dividend stimulus checks to the American people? Let me know your thoughts. But this is the live tracker. It's a little bit behind. You can see that the actual official website has it at $175 billion for Doge clawbacks. So we will see. Now, in addition to that, I've got some more video footage coming out for you on the big, beautiful bill, where things currently stand in Congress, and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, again, he is doing a lot of interviews, and what he has to say with where things are currently at. Let's go ahead and take a look so you can get the latest updates with Congress and the new bill.
And joining us now is House Speaker Mike Johnson. Mr. Speaker, good to have you on America Reports. Thanks for being here. So please do give us your take on where this ends up and what it'll look like.
I think we're going to end up crossing the finish line and getting this job done for the American people. We have the entire America First agenda wrapped into this one big, beautiful bill. That's why we call it that. It's President Trump's promises to the American people, and it's our promises, all of us said on the campaign trail. We got to deliver this product. Now, I think we will. I mean, this is part of the process. Remember, before we got it passed in the House last Thursday, there was lots of grumbling and lots of questions, a lot of doubt. The critics and the media and the Democrats said we couldn't get it done, but we did in the end, and I believe the Senate will do the same. We've been working hand in hand with the Senate from the very beginning of this process to ensure that it really is a one-team approach, the House and Senate Republicans working together, and I think at the end of the day, they're going to get this job done.
All right, so you think that it's going to cross the finish line, but the question is, I guess, Mr. Speaker, what's the car going to look like when it crosses the finish line? Will it still have all four wheels and a body? Because Senator Ron Johnson told us this last week about the bill. He's not happy at all.
And we need presidential leadership to get on board with returning to a reasonable pre-pandemic level spending. That's probably for next year no more than $6.5 trillion. Right now we're on track to be over $7 trillion. That's completely unacceptable.
And he's not the only one who's unhappy about the level of spending versus the level of saving. So it looks like the Senate is going to do some reworking with this bill. And what do you think it looks like when it comes out the other side?
Well, look, I've encouraged them to do as little reworking as possible because we have a very delicate balance that we've maintained in the House and the Senate. We both have small majorities. I don't disagree with my good friend Ron Johnson. He's right. We have a big national debt problem. But I think what's being discounted here is the fact that we are achieving the largest amount of savings in the history of government on planet Earth. I mean, we're going to save over $1.5 trillion in spending. That's a big, big thing. We didn't get in this economic situation overnight, and it's going to take us a while to get out of it. But this would be the biggest, largest dramatic turn that we've ever had in Congress. And so it's a big achievement. Now, look, this is just the beginning. This is not the end. This is the first of what we believe will be multiple reconciliation packages, and we'll be codifying more of the Doge cuts and putting all these things into law. So this is an important step, and I don't want them to miss that as they're debating the merits of the bill.
Well, Mr. Speaker, speaking of Doge, Elon Musk taking issue on whether this can be both big and beautiful. Listen.
We're not saving lives here with a red light, but it is saving your skin from dying.
I found this viral LED mask.
You know, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing. I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both.
So how do you respond to his concerns about it?
Yes, I sent my good friend Elon a long text message last night explaining that it can be both big and beautiful, okay? So what I wanted to make sure that he understands is that the projection that he's referring to and others is from the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office. They are historically totally unreliable. It's run by Democrats. 84% of the number crunchers over there are donors to big Democrats. They don't have our best interest in mind, and they've always been off. By way of example, they were off on their projections of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in the first Trump administration by $1 trillion. The problem is they do not use what we call dynamic scoring. What that means in layman's terms is they don't give us any credit for the extraordinary economic growth that will be spurred along by this bill. This is a pro-growth package. It lower tax rates, less regulation. We'll do exactly what we did in the first Trump administration, but this time on steroids. And so we're going to have an extraordinary growth in the economy. You're going to have more jobs created, higher wages, more labor participation, and all those things need to be factored in because that's reality. And by the way, the CBO's giving no credence whatsoever, no calculation at all to the new revenues that are being produced by the Trump tariff policies and all these other things that are happening. So we believe we're going to get the economy going, and this is going to be deficit reducing at the end of the day. It matters how you do the math, and that's what's important for everybody to remember.
You mentioned this just a moment ago, and that is codifying the Doge cuts into law. And the White House is soon going to be sending you the framework of a rescission package that includes cuts of $1.1 billion from PBS and NPR and $8.3 billion from foreign aid. It's obviously a big priority for the president. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted this on X. She said, personally, I want to pass Doge cuts every single week until the bloated, out-of-control government is reined back in. As a country, we cannot survive our national debt, and honestly, we may be past the point of return. We should be aggressively attacking our debt and aggressively cutting all waste, fraud, and abuse and unnecessary programs. Our future, literally, is in peril. So you got more than $9 billion in cuts that the president wants codified into law. Can you do it?
Yes, and Marjorie's exactly right, and she and I were talking about this yesterday. I think you'll find a big appetite across the conference. Every Republican in Congress wants to cut fraud, waste, and abuse. We want government to be leaner and more efficient and effective. And the beauty of what Doge has been able to do, the reason it's so revolutionary is because Elon cracked the code. He had access. All the stars aligned. We had a president who was bold enough to do it, and we had somebody with Elon's talent and capability to come in and have his magic algorithms running through the data to find all these irregularities. irregularities. And these are things that have been hidden from Congress, right? We've been trying to do our oversight responsibility, but the bureaucracy was hiding these things. And so this changes the way government works. And Elon's exactly right. The Doge effort will go on long beyond his tenure as a temporary assistant in all this, because it's changing the way people look at this. And the oversight's a really important component, and that's going to be a permanent part of government now, and it's an exciting thing.
Mr. Speaker, I want to finish up with some breaking news, and this will be the first our audience saw this.
There you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Doge dividend refund checks, big, beautiful bill. A lot going on right now, and you heard him say again that this is not the end, that there's likely going to be another reconciliation bill coming here, and we will see what is included in that. Do you think that we're going to get a Doge check? Let me know your thoughts, yes or no, in the comments. But regardless, like I said, I will keep you up to date on all of this so you know exactly what is going on. And as I mentioned, right now as it stands, there's $175 billion in those Doge clawbacks. That equates to $1,086.96 per taxpayer. That's saying that's roughly a $200 or $300 check, depending on how you look at it, for every household, if that piece of legislation or that line item is included, if there is a Doge dividend refund check. Now, like I said, I will keep you up to date on this. If there is not, I'll be sure to let you know. If there is, I'll be sure to let you know here on the channel. But there's a lot taking place right now in Congress, and a lot of people are saying, hey, we wanted to see those. They didn't get included. And also, what about the no tax for Social Security recipients? No updates on that either. It was not included in the bill. Now, there is a $4,000 deduction for those that are on Social Security, so that's a bonus. But a lot of people saying, hey, what about Social Security as well? And speaking of which, also Medicare help. As I mentioned, for those of you hopping on a little bit late, you can see the number on the screen. Call 984-375-0879 to get totally free help. A chapter is available. The founders, their parents were actually scammed in their Medicare, and they decided they wanted to fix the system. So it's totally free. No reason not to give them a call, because it's totally free to speak to a live person, get some help. Because as you can see here, if you have felt like you were getting scammed in your Medicare, trust your gut. You're probably right. As of May 1st, the United States files a False Claim Act complaint against 3 national health insurance companies and 3 brokers alleging unlawful kickbacks and discrimination against disabled Americans, offering you Medicare based upon what pays them the most. Kickbacks, not the best plan for you. And Chapter will help you find the best plan. Give them a call. The number on the screen, 984-375-0879. And if they can't help you out and they find out you do have the best plan, they'll just simply let you know the call was free. However, if they can save you money, we're hearing that the savings equates to over $1,000 per person per year. So no reason not to give them a call. But thanks again to Chapter for making that available to my viewing audience. I hope that it is a blessing to you. I'll keep you up on the Doge dividend refund checks, on Congress, the big beautiful bill with Donald Trump, everything going on, so that way you know the latest. But that is it, you guys. Today, June 2nd, 2025. As more comes out, I'll be sure to share here on the channel. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.